Narcomoebas,
and Bloodghast. You have a lot more. Like you have 16 dredge cards as opposed to the usual 11. You have 16 creatures as that actually come into play as opposed to the usual 7 or so. You're just a lot of all of the cards in the deck, and none of the lands or cantrips.
Yeah.
Just Street Wraith for drawing extra cards.
Really, you grind them out a lot. This is the really grindy version of Dredge, I feel. And so, playing against it is Ruben Bressler. Now, he's playing mono blue control. Normally, you might think, oh, that's an unwinnable matchup for Ruben, right? Like, how is Ruben possibly going to win? Game 1, I think, is pretty bad for Ruben.
He does have a couple of relics, so he has to draw those. That's how he's going to win.
So game 1, he has very little. I think he's going to lose that one. But I talked to him a little bit, and he actually felt it was okay for him. He has, after sideboarding, he has a couple of relics, as well as Propaganda, which is really rough
Propaganda,
for a deck with no mana to be.
There is actually no card that can remove an enchantment in that deck.
Yeah, no, he has Angel of Despair and Woodfall Primus, right?
Oh, he does have Woodfall Primus and Terraston, my bad. There was no card for Leyline of the Void.
Correct.
But, I mean, just if Ruben's counters, all they have to do is target the Dread Returns, He just has to play around Cabal Therapy at that point. Propaganda is going to be a real big issue.
Yeah, I agree entirely. I think after sideboarding, Ruben just has to play a Propaganda, and Nicholas's deck isn't really fast. It can do some quick things, but for the most part, it's really just going to grind you out over time. You can get to a turn 3 situation to play Propaganda.
It's probably not right to Fate Seal him with Jay Snow.
Just put that out there. Mm-hmm. Unless you were trying to find that Woodfall Primus really badly.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and then the last bracket, this is one that's going to be on camera. Andrew Boody playing Zoo.
Burn Zoo.
Goblin
Guides.
With Goblin Guides and Chain Lightnings and the works. Versus Brian Boss, who's playing Junk Depths. And this is a deck we featured early in the tournament. That's really a pretty neat little addition to the Legacy metagame.
You have, the usual junk suspects show. You have, Thoughtseize, Swords, Mox, Diamond. You've got Dark Confidant, Tarmogoyf, and Knight of the Reliquary. Just, all these good cards. And then you have Vampire Hexmage, Living Wish, Dark Depths, and that's sort of your, I don't know if it's your plan B or your plan A, but that's one of your plans, and you just sort of kill them. And the interesting thing is that Knight of the Reliquary tutors, tap, get a Dark Depths. I mean, how good is that? Like, Knight of the Reliquary is now survival, it's like, this is basically the equivalent of the Loyal Retainers combo. You can survival for all this value and then just Loyal Retainers back the Emerald and kill them. Right. And out of the board, he's got a pretty good toolbox. He has Bajuka Bog for the Dredge matchups that might be showing up later in the top 8. He has, obviously, another Hex Mage, another Dark Depths. His 4th Wasteland's in the board. He's got a pretty solid spread here. So it should be an interesting matchup to watch. Interesting decks.
Interactive decks, too.
I don't actually know who's favored, but
I don't know
we'll
who's
have to see.
I think this might be one of the closer matchups in the top 8. A couple people on Twitter have asked if we could feature Manaless Dredge deck, and basically there are 2 Dredge decks in the top 8. I think it's likely we'll see one of them at some point. And Ruben, although he does have the Propagandas after sideboarding, the fact that he's pretty much down in the first game.
Yeah, it's not necessarily. If he's going to win one of the later games, it's going to go longer. So we might actually have time to feature him later. And, I mean, I personally don't really know if he can win that matchup. I think that Cabal Therapy might start hitting before Propaganda.
No, I agree. Plus, Woodfall Primus knocks down Propaganda. Because you can go Woodfall Primus, sacrifice it to Cabal Therapy, sacrifice it, Dread Return back.
Yeah, there's just so many
Kill
things.
all the Propaganda.
Yeah.
It's, Dredge is a very clean place. They don't want any propaganda against them. So, takes care of that. So, in the meantime, we're going to watch this match and see what happens. And we'll probably get to some of the Dredge matchups later. Ben Weinberg versus Caleb. But Caleb felt like it was a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
So,
actually was willing to leave if there was if the top 8 price split had gone through. But it looks like he's going to have to play it out because that did not. So
gotta have a little bit of hope there.
Yeah, so a little bit. There's always a little bit.
And in the meantime, so not only are there going to be some winners in the tournament, there's going to be winners for you guys back at home, because we're going to be giving away some prizes during the top 8. We're going to give away 3 months of Star City Games Premium.
Yep.
6 months of Star City Games Premium, and you might know what comes next if you watched before, but there's a special twist this time around. It is not a year of Star City Games Premium. It's not even 2 years of Star City Games Premium.
It's actually better than both of those.
It is a Gen Con badge.
Yes.
Which is awesome. Pretty high value on these badges, and Nationals is at Gen Con this year. You've got Nationals grinders, you have all kinds of great side events for awesome prizes. I'm sure there'll be like some foil side events, foil uncut sheets, and boss side events. Vintage champs,
block champs, and legacy.
If you like legacy, Legacy champs will be at Gen Con. all kinds of great stuff happening. You can try out brand new games, board games, card games, Dungeons and Dragons, live action role playing, whatever you're into. It'll be at Gen Con, and these prizes that they give out there are really great. And the easy way to get there is by getting a badge, and you can get that for free by playing along here. So we'll be asking questions in the top 8, and if you answer correctly, you'll get a prize for it. Yep. So stay tuned for those questions. You're going to want to answer them. They'll be on Twitter, so you'll have to have a Twitter account to play. So if you don't have one yet, sign up real fast. I highly recommend it. Twitter is a great way for Magic. It really helps you communicate with the best players in the game. So I'm pretty excited about that. So let's look at our bracket for a second. So let's just presume Ben wins over Caleb.
Right.
And then we'll say...
I think Steven is going to win over Alex.
So we'll say Dredge beats Alex. So that puts Hive Mind versus Dredge in the semis.
I think that's... How good is Winds of Change? That's the question.
How good is Winds of Change? Winds of Change is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like Winds of Change. I played a lot with a Dredge deck, and I know against the combo decks, when I was playing against like Storm, Winds of Change was unbelievable.
Storm's a bit of a different animal. But Hive Mind they don't have that much hand sculpting.
Right. Like Storm, you're crafting, you're using all these cantrips, crafting your hand. With Hive Mind, it's just I need one card.
Is Winds an instant or no?
Sorcery.
You
can't even do it in response to the Hive Mind.
Right. Well, I was thinking that you could also... Yeah, I don't really see it being quite as good as it is against Storm.
Yeah, I agree.
And, especially against Grim Monolith, it might actually be worse.
I think it's also... Still bring it in because it speeds your deck up too.
Yes. Yeah, you're going to bring it in. It's just more breakthroughs, but...
But that was something to watch.
The Hive Mind deck also has Misstep, right? Do the current list?
No. The list Ben is playing cut Missteps for Ponders.
Okay.
So he just has Force of Will and Pact of Negation, of course.
Okay, so he can interact with the breakthroughs and stuff. So I think Ben's probably the favorite here, but Dredge can take it for sure.
I'm going to give the edge to Dredge in this matchup. I think it's going to be close either way. If that matchup happens, I think it'll be close.
I think this might be a matter of personal bias between your experience with Dredge and my experience with Brainstorms and Underground Seas.
I got to be telling you, though, after watching Ben Weinberg play today...
He's probably just on fire.
Yeah, man, is that ridiculous. The fact that yesterday, he's just like... I'm like, oh, Ben, what are you going to play? He's like, I don't really know. I'm like, oh, you should play Hive Mind. He's like, I don't really want to play that deck. And then later he's like, all right, fine. Do you have a Hive Mind list for me? I'll play that deck.
Yeah.
And then, very easily makes top 8 here. Well positioned, I think, to maybe even win the tournament.
Yeah.
On the other half of the bracket, if we presume that Nicholas Roush with Manless Dredge is going to win, and that Brian Boss, or actually, we don't even know who's going to win this match. But, so if Nicholas Roush wins and faces Zoo, Andrew Boody, who do you think has the advantage there?
I really think Zoo has the advantage in that matchup.
Really? Because normally I'd say Dredge is highly favored over Zoo, but Manless Dredge is much different, as we've been talking about.
It's slower, and the Zoo deck is faster.
Slower, and the Zoo deck is faster.
Like, this is a Burn Zoo deck. They will not give you that much time. Let's take a look at the Burn Zoo list for a minute.
Well, how about we just see them in person? Because we're about to go watch the match now.
Yeah, we are. Right here. So Brian Boss on the right, Andrew Boody on the left.
Brian Boss is piloting the...
Hex Junk Steps.
Yeah. Hex Junk Depths, Living Wish-ish thing. We call it Junk Depths all night long, and he's been doing really well with it. Hasn't dropped a match so far. Drew right into the top 8. And so Andrew Boody is playing Burn Zoo. He leads off on a Wild and the Coddle. This is the quarterfinals of the Star City Games Open Series here in Cincinnati, the legacy portion. I'm Gavin Verhey with Arilax, and we're going to bring you coverage for the entire top 8. Brian leads with Verdant Catacombs.
Looks like he used his off-color main deck Mental Missteps to take down that Wild and the Coddle on turn 1.
Yep, off-color main deck Mental Missteps. No blue sources in Brian's deck. He used them purely to attack his opponents and also protect his combo as well.
Swords of Plowshares is really good against this deck. The Dark Depths combo, it's a real problem against. It's also really good against Knight of the Reliquary. Kenny Mayer had a Sajiri Step in his deck, but Brian Boss does not. But both of them had these mental missteps that were just 100% there to protect them from pretty much swords. Duress' effects and Thoughtseize are a bit of a problem. They're kind of like a side thought, as well as a Stifle, which can stop the combo. So it looks like Tarmogoyf's going to hit the board for Andrew Boody. Brian Boss fetches up a Bayou.
All right, so Bayou down for Brian Boss. And the way this deck plays out is really interesting. You can either just go the traditional junk route, or you can just start Living Wishing. You see, there you go, Dark Confidant. It's a pretty traditional junk play. Get some card advantage, maybe start beating down a little bit.
Looks like Andrew has a Fire Blast in his hand, so we could see this game getting pretty aggressive soon.
Well, we'll see what happens. let's see, he's going to tap 1, and down comes Goblin Guide. And this is a card you're a big fan of in this deck.
Oh, yeah.
You just want to guide him all day long, right?
Yeah, it's a burn spell. It's a recursive burn spell. It's the best red creature, best red 1-drop probably of all time. Yeah, assuming we count Goblin Welder as a blue one, because I don't really think there's that many red Goblin Welder.
You said Goblin Lackey is the other one you can compare.
Yeah, Goblin Lackey is like the other realistic comparison.
So Andrew's going to serve him with both creatures, and flips the top card with Goblin Guide.
Yeah,
at least he should.
Goblin Guide trigger.
Hold on, we have a missed Goblin Guide trigger.
What?
Okay, so he's resolving it now. There you go. Dark Confidant. Yes, not only is it a 2/2 haste for 1, it is often just telepathy sometimes.
Yes, 1 red, 2/2 haste, telepathy.
It's pretty insane.
So it looks like this. Wait, where did this Chain Lightning go? Did that Chain Lightning go to the bob or the face?
I thought it went. Oh, he mental misstepped it. Gotcha. There you go. So there's some confusion there with the Goblin Guide trigger. So Dark Confidant reveals Dark Confidant. And
draw a card. Looks like Brian's got some Knight of the Reliquaries he's probably going to rely on to win this game.
All right, down comes Horizon
8
Canopy.
life. Wow, that is...
Yeah, it goes quickly. Let's see, Dark Confidant. I might have blocked that Confidant last turn.
Yeah, I think you really had to trade there. Could not afford to take the damage.
Yeah.
Could not afford to take damage off the flip either.
Well, see what Brian Boss chooses to do. Yeah, Goblin Guide is pretty ridiculous. One side telepathy. My brother said played some Magic in his time. He plays a lot of red these days, and he told me that the secret with the Goblin Guide is you just never wish your opponent good luck when you play, and they'll never hit lands. So
there we go. That's all you need.
That's all you have to do. That's the secret technology.
Yeah, Brian Boss is already 7 damage to himself.
Yeah, Brian's sitting at only 8 life against Burn Zoo. That's not where you want to be. All right, taps 3 for Knight of the Reliquary. A big guy, but Horizon Canopy will deal point of damage to Brian Boss. That'll drop Brian down to a paltry 7 life.
Yeah, especially given that Fire Blast in his hand, things could be looking a little bit better.
Yeah. And Fire Blast puts Brian at a functional 3. The only question is, does Andrew have a way to deal the last 3 damage, or does he just see if Bob will kindly hand over the mat, or kindly hand over the first game?
Well, it looks like he has a solid Pride Mage in hand, too. I think he just... Oh, there's that. That looks like a...
Wait, he bolts the Knight? Okay, and he hasn't met... Brian Boss has a mental misstep. If he bolted Brian, that would have been lethal, or he did Fire Blast.
I think he has a Fire Blast. Maybe I didn't see the right card looking at his hand.
Okay, because I was going to say, if he had Fire Blast, that would have been lethal. Assuming our life totals are correct.
Yes. Let's see. Brian Boss has taken 8, 9, 10 off his own, and the Terminal was the 3. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that he has Fire Blast in his hand.
I think you just have to... How big is that Knight? It's a 3? Yeah, Tarmogoyf.
Alright, serves in, flips over a card. Telepathy continues as he flips up a Hex Mage.
This Dark Confidant has to get it out of here.
Yeah, that Dark Confidant is going to block the Tarmogoyf, and the Knight of Reliquary jumps in front of the Goblin Guide.
Yeah.
So Goblin Guide goes down, Tarmogoyf eats up that Dark Confidant. I kind of like letting Brian keep the Confidant in play if he has Fire Blast. Once again, it seems like he probably doesn't, though, if he put the Lightning on the Nether Reliquary.
I may have just seen a Chain Lightning assumed based on the new Blacker art.
Right. Curious what's in Andrew's hand now, though. See, he's tapping 2. We see another big guy. There's a Kozali Pride Mage. All right. So how big is that Nether Reliquary exactly? There's 1 fetch land in the graveyard? 1
fetch land.
So it is a 3/3 currently.
Not quite there.
All right. So let's see. Brian, we know he has a Vampire Hex Mage in his hands, but he doesn't have double black to cast it currently.
Doesn't have the Dark Depths either to go with it.
Well, that's also true. Though, as we've learned today, the 2/1 body with his ability...
Oh, he does have the Knight, though. He actually does have the Dark Depths.
Yeah, so
We'll do all 45 minutes of it.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the double black to cast it. So he's going to have to Knight up a second black source before he can do anything. And that doesn't work because he has to throw away one of his black sources in the process.
Yep.
So Goblin Guy comes down for Andrew Booty.
He can float a black off the Knight to do that.
Flings it for 3. Not the way he wants to.
Yeah, that's true.
Although Mox Diamond on top for Brian Boss, there you go. That could be it. Also, he has to survive long enough to get that 2022.
That 2020 might not be enough. I think that you just have to take the Tarmogoyf damage here, keep the Knight in play, Yeah, I think that's what he's doing.
Block.
I don't think he wants the Mox Diamond. He's made it evident that he doesn't have a land in hand, I think.
All right, so Dark Confidant blocks Pride Mage, Knight blocks Goblin Guide,
Yep.
and that Tarmogoyf is 3 power?
4. Sorcery from the Chain Lightning.
4 power.
And creature and instant from that turn 1 Wild Nacatl Misstep and a land.
Yep. So Brian Boss will draw to a single life point. Make the Horizon Canopy doesn't quite look so exciting anymore. Or he's going to find Maze of Ith potentially too. And maze that Tarmogoyf.
That would be that would leave it without color mana, but it would kill all of Andrew Booty's creatures.
Or at least fog one of them.
Yeah.
I think maze is probably the right way to go here.
I don't know.
Yep, and there's the maze. Yeah, I like it. I don't think you want to just drop the 1 life against the Burn Zoo deck.
That's fair. He still has a card in hand.
Still has a card in hand, and he's got a couple more draw steps even if your plan is to assemble Dark Depths.
Knight also shuffled away that Mox Diamond that really wasn't going to do anything.
Yep. And so, good old Nether Reliquary. And Andrew Booty passes the turn.
If Brian Boss draws a Scrubland here, he can just play that Hex Mage and start going to town next turn.
Well,
let's see what he has.
Let's see.
That looks like sacking that Horizon Canopy, probably.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not. He's going to take damage, sacrificing it. Taking Horizon Canopy damage is dangerous, but especially against a deck with Fire Blast, you don't just want to drop down to 4 life if you don't have to. Any draw step at that point could yield your defeat.
There are only 2 Fire Blasts, however. Not
exactly enough that you have to play around them, but
not 4. That's the key part. Not 4.
I mean, there's less of a chance, but you don't want it to enter your head. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to crack that 4 card.
Yeah.
All right.
It also is more important that he doesn't use the Horizon Canopy, so a later fetch land puts him to 4, not 3.
Right.
So Lightning Bolts, Chain Lightnings, just out of range of those.
All right, so let's see. How big is the Tarmogoyf now? Still 4? Huh. Well, Andrew draws. I think that's the fetch land. Is that a Marsh
I think
Flats?
there was a turn pass in there, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a Marsh Flats. And if there's a Fire Blast, this could get interesting.
Oh. Brian Boss has so few non-fetch land mana sources that I think he has to be willing to crack the fetch lands.
He has 7, and he's already used 1 of them.
I'll bring up the exact number here.
Not counting Urborg, so I think 8.
Brian Boss has 4.
Yeah, he's got 2. Oh,
he's got 8 fetch lands total.
well, he's got 8 fetch lands, 2 Bayou, 2 Savannah, and any Scrubland? No.
All right, Brian thinks about it and just passes the turn. And Andrew taps 2. Down comes Pride Mage. And passes the turn back to Brian Boss.
Brian draws. Sees a Mox Diamond.
Okay. Now, I guess that could be a reason to hold the Marsh Flats theoretically,
Yeah,
but I think you're okay probably cracking 1 fetch land.
He hasn't cracked it yet, though. Maybe he's waiting for the point where he just immediately Hex Mage Depths.
That's certainly an option.
Yeah, prevents a Lightning Bolt on the Hex Mage from mattering. Even though his life total is so low, but,
And it looks like he's just going to pass back to Andrew, and this is not where Brian Boss wants to be because every turn he gives Andrew is just 1 step closer to his demise.
Right. The Pride Mage and the Tarmogoyf aren't necessarily going to kill him right now because that Maze of Ith and that Knight of the Reliquary just clawing up the ground, but 1 more guy, a burn spell or 2, it's getting closer.
Yeah, it's certainly a big issue.
Looks like Brian's going to make a move here.
All right.
This card's, I believe, a Wasteland.
Sounds right, yeah. Taps 2 mana.
Yep.
And here comes...
Probably Tarmogoyf? Maybe Light from the Loam. Living Wish.
Living Wish. All right. Goes Wishing. And what do you think we're going to see here? Dark Depths? Or is that too greedy?
Let's see what else he has in the sideboard.
Dark Depths, Tarmogoyf, Hexmage, Shriekmaw, Kataki.
It's definitely Dark Depths. That would be how he's going to win this game.
Yeah, I think that's how he's going to win this game. Because even if he just starts attacking, he can't do enough in enough time.
The question is that none of these cards actually help him play around a Fire Blast, though.
Right. I mean, I think the quickest route to
Oh,
playing...
but Jukabog does, though.
I mean, it makes his Tarmogoyf smaller.
Well, not only that, but it gives him a second black source to put the Hexmage into play that doesn't force him to lose a life.
Right, and then you can activate the Nether Relic card to put Dark Depths out.
Well, you still need a Plains or something.
Well, you have the Marsh Flats.
But you don't. The whole point of this is so he doesn't have to crack the Marsh Flats.
Right, I mean, he doesn't want to die to Fire Blast.
Right. Though I think it might have been better for him to just sort of, I guess, take it. Unless he has the sick read, I don't know.
I mean, you thought he had a Fire Blast. You still haven't seen all the cards in his hand.
Yeah.
But if he had it, his play wouldn't have made any sense before. So.
Right.
Let's see. Alright, so Andrew shuffling here. So if you're Andrew, you use a couple burn spells. That's all you want to see. As many burn spells as possible, probably, right?
Goblin Guide's a burn spell, so yeah.
Let's not fool around here.
It really is. That Tarmogoyf still a 4? I don't know if it still is.
Definitely have land, instant, and creature. Is there a sorcery in Brian Boss's graveyard? I don't think there is.
I don't think there is. I think that Living Wishes would be the only one that's exiled. There might be a 3, though. Our View of the Die is not flawless.
Yeah, it's a long ways away. Not as long, perhaps, as your View of the Day. Alright, down comes Vampire Hexmage. So that's one half of the 2-card combo. Now, what do you do if you're Brian? Do you go for the combo?
I think you can wait, actually. He might be playing this Hexmage so he can bash him with this Knight. And actually, he can't bash him with the Knight because the whole point of this is to make Boody use the burn spell, at which point, in response, he can Hexmages.
Alright, looks like Brian just passed it back to Andrew. Andrew quickly chopped Brian's life down to 5, but Brian managed to stabilize. See if he manages to take this one out.
Nether Reliquary does some good work on the blocks.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Alex Bertoncini quickly dispatching Dredge.
Yep, so one Dredge deck down. Stephen Brill playing the traditional Dredge deck.
Yeah.
Defeated by Alex Bertoncini playing No Rug. So No Rug will advance to the semifinals where he'll likely face off against Ben Weinberg with Hive Mind.
Yes.
Good to get that report from the back tables. We'll let you know as more reports become available. Taps that Taiga and something else. Another Tarmogoyf.
Yep.
Okay, so there's Tarmogoyf down. And
Sounds like Alex's Dredge opponent chose to try and play some spells and got him Mental Misstep and Force Will instead of just going for the slower discard route.
yes, slower discard route is very important with that deck.
Yeah.
You really just want to, like in some matchups you just want to do that. Sometimes it's not always right to, but some matchups certainly is. Alright, so Brian's tapping 2 mana now.
Looks like it's another Hexmage.
Alright, Hexmage is down.
Passing the turn.
How sure if you're Brian Boss that your opponent has Burn Spell? Or has Fire Blast?
It has to be Fire Blast. At this point, he's just stuck playing around it.
I mean, because like in that instance right there, for example, he could just win the game if he doesn't have it. Like your choice is if he does not have Fire Blast,
It's also
I win the
possible
game.
he's trying to figure out some way. Maybe he thinks. I guess they've seen deck lists though.
Yeah, they've seen deck lists. And at the end of that turn,
I don't think Boody had main deck. Yeah, he did not have main deck Path or Swords, correct? Can we look at the list?
Sure, we can look at the list. Let's see what he has. He was playing Burn Zoo. A lot of Burn Zoos definitely don't have swords. Yeah, did not have main deck Path or swords.
Just lighting people's faces on fire.
Yep, 2 Fire Blasts. So, yeah, but if you do that, it's basically, if you have Fire Blast, you win, otherwise I win. I think I would take those odds.
Yeah, I would have taken them a long time ago, I feel like.
Especially considering that you know at that one juncture in the game, he didn't Chain Lightning you.
Right, exactly. That was the key. You're basically saying, if my opponent misplayed, this is how I'm going to win the game.
Right. I know. I I like cracking that fetch line here, but
Yeah, I would have probably immediately done it.
we'll see what Brian goes for. He's clearly thinking. See, his hand looks like Knight of the Reliquary.
Maybe he's counting on that Knight of the Reliquary there.
What do you think the other card in his hand is?
He's got a few cards. Let's see. One of them's definitely a Knight. Swinging with the Knight.
All right, for the first time in a long time, creature attacks. All right, creature attacks. It looks like Wasteland is being tapped.
He's
going to target.
wastelanding his own land to get that Knight a little bit bigger.
So Knight gets +2/+2. And I don't even know how much that is. We'll see as the life total gets recorded here in a second.
Maze of It to untap my Knight of the Reliquary.
Do the old Maze of Ith trick.
We talked about that one a bit earlier.
So now Andrew's sitting at 8 life.
Looks like you drew a cat.
Yeah, Wild and Toddle down for
He
Andrew.
does with the Fire Blast. It's right there in his hand.
He has the Fire Blast?
Yeah, he's had it all along.
That's insane. I wonder if either he just straight up misplayed with the Chain Lightning, or it was just some insane level where he's like, I'll target your creature to make you think I don't have Fire Blast because I think you have misstep. I think he probably just made a mistake.
Yeah. I think you just have to go for the face there. I mean, if it resolves, like, that's the... Like, what's the best case scenario? Like, is your best case scenario that it gets misstepped? Like, other the best case scenario is you go for the dome, it doesn't get misstepped, and you kill them.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought too. Well,
This is definitely an interesting game. Brian Voss cannot attack this turn the same way he did last turn because Knight of the Reliquary... But it wasn't 8 last turn, though. That might be enough.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Reliquary is big enough now to... Oh, or not.
There's a Lightning Helix in hand.
All right, I think that should be it if he's got Helix plus Fire Blast.
Yeah.
Helix you. Resolves. Brian drops to 2. Andrew goes to 8. And then I will sacrifice 2 mountains. Take 4.
Yeah, he definitely had that Fire Blast the whole time.
Wow. Wow, yeah. After that Chain Lightning thing, I just didn't think he had it anymore. But
Yeah.
apparently not.
Let's see. Zudek is definitely boarding in Path to Exile.
Yeah, so the Zudek sideboard is 3 Ancient Grudge, not coming in. 3 Ethersworn Cannon is not coming in. 3 Path to Exile, definitely those are coming
Yeah.
in. 3 Rebs not coming in. A Gaddock Teeg, no. A Null Rod, no.
A Jite is very possible.
Yeah, I think the GTA there is fine.
Yes. I think that Kasali Pride Mage goes out. It's not very good here. And the only thing it really does is push your Ghost over theirs, and
Yeah. I mean, I'd board out the Gaddock Teeg in the main deck.
the Pride Mages.
So that's 3 cards. You want 1 more card maybe? Maybe you board out the one with Green Sun Zenith.
I don't know how good Tomoglyph is here. It's probably reasonable.
I mean, it's fine. It's a Zoom match. You could also board out Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library's insane. I would never do that in this matchup.
Okay. Well, then don't board out Sylvan Library.
The matchup, if he plays the junk side of the deck, is going to go long, and you just want all the cards, like, you just want to find all the cards that you know you need. All the Knights, all the Pass, all the Fire Blast, or whatever you need to kill him.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Actually, thinking about it more, I agree.
Yeah.
You don't want to cut those.
Especially because Brian Boss isn't really forcing you to, make a board presence back immediately. Like, you just stick it on 2. You're not that far behind. You're probably still ahead from that Wild Nakala.
Yeah, the Wild Nakala is insane. Hey everybody, back in the booth. I'm Gavin Verhey here with Ari Lax, and we're going to give away 3 months of StarTradeCityGames.com premium while these guys are sideboarding. So the way this works is we're going to ask a question. You're going to tweet us the question using the hashtag SCGPremium. It doesn't have to be at us, you just have to answer the question. We'll choose one person from all of the people who submitted the question, or submitted the answer to the question, and that person will win 3 months of Star City Games Premium. We're giving away 3 months now, 6 months in the semifinals, and then a Gen Con badge in the finals. And we'll pick the winner at the end of the match. So for 3 months of free premium, here's your question. Do you have a question, Ari?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Ari's got a question. I'll let him take over this one.
Top 8 competitor Ruben Bressler, playing his last round, played against kind of his previous namesake deck, and he ended up casting a Phyrexian Metamorph, copying one specific card to kill his opponent. What card did Phyrexian Metamorph copy to instantly win the game?
That's a really good question. All right. Yeah, tweet it. hashtag SCG Premium if you know the answer, and you could win 3 months of free premium. So look at the sideboard. So that's for Andrew. Seems pretty simplistic, or at least close to what he's going to do there. I think we're reasonable low to come there. On Brian Boss,
I think he wants these Inquisitions.
So bring in all the Inquisitions, you think, against Burnzu?
On the play, yeah. It's a removal spell.
All right, so you bring in the Inquisitions, and maybe do you bring in the Shriek Maw too? Are you ever going to Living Wish for that in this matchup?
It's probably not. You probably don't need. You could probably board out a Life from the Loam, maybe two. They're probably not that good. Thoughtseize could probably just get upgraded. Might be what it is.
Yeah, maybe you just upgrade Thoughtseize into Inquisition. That might be a better
I can
way
see
to
that.
go.
That might be enough.
Or maybe you go to like 4 Inquisition, 1 Thoughtseize or something like that.
Dark Confidant's probably good enough still.
Life from the Loam, like you said, I don't think it's that impressive.
Right.
I mean, you could maybe Wasteland lock him, but that's kind of a long shot.
Yeah. The only really thing I can see it doing is, you Dark Depths once it dies, you Dark Depths again.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you board out
a Loam, 3 Thoughtseize for 4 Inquisitions.
Yeah, and then
so that sounds right.
Then you can board out the other Loam for any other of the sideboard cards you want to bring in. Like
you might just want to board in the Tarmogoyf.
Like
you might just want to
the
board
Tarmogoyf or the Shriek Maw. I mean, when you're Living Wishing,
you might want to have the Tarmogoyf on the board to wish for. Just some body, something good.
I mean, how often are you going to be wishing for Tarmogoyf?
I mean, you either want a body or you want Dark Depths or Hexmage, so you just want to have all 3 options available.
So maybe Shriek Maw is where it's not at?
No, you want to board in Shriek Maw, probably. You probably don't necessarily want the removal. All the Burnzu creatures are very similar. There's not really anything over the top, and the only thing is Tarmogoyf, and that's going to be, like, you wish for your Tarmogoyf, that's even. That's
right,
fine.
yeah.
So I think you want the Shriek Maw in the deck and the Tarmogoyf from the sideboard.
Yeah, I can get behind that. So that's what I think we'll see them do, or what we think they should do. We'll see what they actually do. Or maybe the Wasteland could also be put in the main deck, too?
Possibly, but I don't know. Maybe on the play, definitely not on the draw.
Yeah, so that's something else we could watch for. We'll see what happens. Brian Boss, who's playing the Depths junk deck, is going to be on the play here.
Yeah.
So seems like he might have a little bit of an advantage, but we're going to find out for sure. So, all right. So we'll be switching back to the match here in a second. And Brian Boss still looking happy despite losing the first game. He played really tight, playing around that Fire Blast the whole time.
That was a sick read.
It was a pretty sick read, and I think a lot of players would have just gone for Dark Depths. Like I would have definitely gone for Dark Depths.
I would have
multiple
just been
times.
like, yeah, whatever. He
like if he has it, he has it. But Brian clearly had a read on it.
Yeah, that's.
Despite Chain Lightning a creature, which is the insane part. Like at one point, Andrew even made it clear that he didn't have Fire Blast in his hands. Insane, absolutely insane. So, looks like players are shuffling up each other's decks.
Yeah.
What do you think the key is here for Brian Boss after sideboarding? Just like turn one, like do you think removal is key, or do you think you want to just play like guys?
Same thing as game 1. You either need to get a Knight into play, keep it up, or get just Dark Depths in. I think this might actually get worse for Brian post-board. Obviously, you would think that because of the Wish board, but more so it's just Path to Exile than anything.
I really hope that Brian Boss did not sideboard out Dark Confidant. I think a big mistake a lot of players make is sideboarding out Dark Confidant against beatdown decks, and I actually kind of like it here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm used to Burnzu having 4 Fire Blasts and more than the full Rift Bolts, so it's a lot more of a liability there. You're playing against more of a full burn deck than a Zoo deck, but against this build you might be at the point where it starts going back to being reasonable.
I mean, especially blocking Goblin Guide is like a totally reasonable thing to do, right?
I agree with that, and probably should have happened game 1.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, if he had blocked that Goblin Guide, he might have just been able to win off by cracking that fetch line.
Yeah, it might have been up a life. Yeah,
it might have been up 1 life or 2 life, and that could have been that.
He would have been down. He would have been 1 less card deeper, but and the Chain Lightning would have still come in his face. But I think that Goblin Guide hit twice. That was 1 life.
Yeah. So maybe that's something to consider in the future.
So the interesting part is that Andrew Boody actually offered the trade for the Goblin Guide on the attack as opposed to just bolting it first main.
Yeah. Andrew offered the trade, and Brian didn't want to make the trade. Maybe that's why. He's like, well, it was offering me the trade. Well, I shouldn't make this a deal.
And at that point, Boody's like, well, maybe I should make the deal for him.
But no, apparently not. I'm pretty aggressive with my Dark Confidants. I mean, you want them to draw cards against you sometimes, but you also like when you can trade with a creature. I just
if it trades, it's awesome. It's a card. It probably drew you a card. Traded. That's a 2/4. Good enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you really want. You don't want it to stick around and deal you a ton of incremental damage going along.
Just good old Phyrexian Ranger. That's all you want.
Yep, Phyrexian Ranger. 2 mana Phyrexian Ranger. Thereabouts. Brian does not look quite as happy with this hand.
Andrew looks like he's going to be I don't know if he's looked at his hand yet, but he looks conservatively happy about this sequence.
It looks like he's trying to hide any emotions that he has. That's what he looks like right now.
Yeah. Brian Boss leads on turn 1 land. It's a Horizon Canopy. Curdape comes down for Andrew. Not the best, but you know, Curdape is still a Curdape.
It means no Wild Nicottle, but you can. I mental missed that from Brian Boss.
18 life for Brian.
So that'll lock Brian Boss into making sure that he doesn't have to deal with any hits from a 1-drop. Sitting at 18 life, sure, but one less creature to worry about. Taiga Forest, the board for Andrew Boody on turn 2, and down comes, is that Tarmogoyf?
Yeah.
That's Tarmogoyf. So
it looks like Andrew actually drew a Wild Nicottle for this turn. Either that or he just slow rolled like a master.
I would imagine he probably drew a Wild Nicottle this turn.
It's also possible that it doesn't look like he has a plane, so that Wild Nicottle may just be, you know, Grizzly Bear. Maybe wanted not to have to risk. Like he plays a 2-drop, you know,
plays Dark Confidant or something, right?
I don't want to have to swing this Wild Nicottle in for the trade, or you know, even worse, just get brickwalled by the Hex Mage.
Yeah, I mean, when you only have 2 toughness, it's a big difference from 3 toughness in this matchup.
Yeah. Looks like a Swords on that Tarmogoyf.
All right, so Goyf goes away. Brian Boss just trying to stabilize after the first few turns. And picks up a new card. Draws. Couldn't quite see what he drew, but I think I saw another Swords hiding in Brian Boss's hand. And cracks Verdant Catacombs. And going to probably find a dual land here. Let's see. Probably going to find Savannah, I'd imagine. So you have a green-white source. Oh, finds Bayou. I thought that was a scrub land he had in play. But maybe that was
looks like it is. It might just be a mistype on our. We have the deck list electronically. It might just be a typo. And I think he had a scrubland.
For sure, he has scrubland in his deck
Not
too.
Savannah. I don't think he had Savannah.
Okay, yeah, because the deck list we have on our computer screen.
I remember looking at the physical deck list earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that's a Knight of the Reliquary for Brian, an empty board for Andrew. That's exactly what he's looking for. Especially as it does not look like Andrew has a white source. Looks like he's got a Mountain and a Taiga. There's a Chain Lightning, but that Knight of the Reliquary is currently a 4/4, right out of range.
How convenient for the Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah.
There's a Wild Nicottle.
Looks like he has a Path to Exile in hand, but he's a white source.
I think...
It looks like one of the promo ones to me.
Oh, sure. Brian is tapping 2.
This might just be it, you know.
Hex Mage. All right, that's the Hex Mage.
Yeah. I think you sequence that wrong.
You're supposed to sacrifice. Oh, he's not doing it. He's doing it. Wants to do it in an end step.
Maybe he just wants to. I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, you always want to have the depths in play because otherwise,
they can just burn the Hex Mage at instant speed.
You activate Nether Reliquary. They're in response. They just kill the Hex Mage.
Yes.
And then nothing happens. But we'll see if that ends up mattering here. Brian should be willing to go for it, though, I'd imagine, unless he's really worried about getting Path to Exiled.
Yeah. I think you just go for it anyways, because if the Path hits, you know, your Merit Lay Shogun, doesn't hit the Knight of the Reliquary. It's a basic Plains for Andrew. Worried about Wastelands here.
Whenever I was watching, or whenever I played, for that matter, the Dark Depths deck, or watched the good players play the Dark Depths deck, in Extended last year, they just always go for it whenever they have the opportunity. Unless they were like positive their opponent had it, they'd pretty much always go for it.
Yeah, I think that's how it would go. You know, just, you know, you're probably a favorite to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you go for it.
Just gotta play the odds.
What's good, Brian had a really good read in the first game, played pretty conservatively, or had a good read in one of the two. And if his playstyle, syncs up, he might do the same this game.
Lightning Helix and back. I think that's a promo Path to Exile somewhere in there. Looks like a Chain Lightning. Is that targeting the Hex Mage? That's a big signal on that one.
If it's targeting the Hex Mage, I think you still go for it, though.
Yeah, I mean...
You force him to use the path. It doesn't really cost you anything because you just trade a land for a land.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, so if that Chain Lightning is on the Vampire Hex Mage, I think you just go for the Dark Depths.
It's not even a land for a land. It's you're trading a land for that land for a basic, and the Knight's growing, and the path is not targeting the Knight anymore, which is awesome.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you have to get that path out of Andrew's hand eventually, I think. Yep, so here we go. Activate another Reliquary, sacrifice a land, go find Dark Depths.
Yeah, probably sacrificing... I don't remember... You might have had 3 of one duel, 2 of the other. I don't remember which one
I think they're split 2 and 2.
Okay.
But, I mean, we're going to see for sure, but...
Leave the Bayou in, probably better for Tarmogoyf. I can
right.
see needing double green and turn more
Look
like needing double white.
I think they're split 2 and 2. Now, granted,
Yeah,
I think we have it written down wrong here on which one it is, but I think it's probably still correct. Hold on. Looking at his list. Yeah, it says 2 Bayou, 2 Savannah,
Okay.
so I imagine that's 2 Bayou, 2 Scrubland.
Right. He does have a snow-covered forest, too, so I...
And a snow-covered swamp.
Yeah. It's probably right for the forest because the Living Wish, Tarmogoyf, Knight of the Reliquary, as opposed to just Knight and Swords.
So he goes for the Dark Depths, and Andrew shows the path.
While McConnell's going to get in there for 3, putting Brian to 12, but he still has a... Oh, there's a Swords.
Swords for the Wild
25. He still has a very commanding board position.
Yeah, then another Reliquary is going to be able to take over the game if left unchecked.
That Knight of the Reliquary is huge. And Andrew's hand looks like it's just a mountain and a lightning helix, which is not going to be enough.
And that's what can happen with the Burn Zoo sometimes, because you have all these burn spells, but if you can't get in enough damage fast enough, you're just left with a couple burn spells, and
yeah,
that's that.
Brian draws.
Rune Bressler walking by, he lost to the Manaless Dredge deck. So, looks like Manaless Dredge will be playing the winner of this match.
It was a 2-game match. Propaganda was apparently not quite enough.
Yeah, he therapied Rune for Propaganda, and that was that. The Cabal's therapies are particularly rigorous this time of year.
So Brian Boss drops a Dark Confidant right here, accelerates his clock, and also importantly, gets him all the gas he could ever need.
Yeah, and this is why you don't want Confidant to come out in these matchups. A, it can block early, get a couple cards off of it.
But if you stabilize at a high enough life total, it can just kill them.
I mean, you have to be careful with it for sure.
That I believe is an 8 power. That Knight just hit for 8?
I'm not sure. The way Brian Boss has his graveyard laid out, it's tough to check which of the
Bob, it's a lightning helix.
That is the fear.
Alright, so Helix the Dark Confidant. Doing the opposite of dealing damage to his opponent.
Passing the Goblin Guide. Not wanting to flip a land and get Maze of Ith. It's a pretty awkward interaction there. Knight gets Maze of Ith. Andrew Boody falls to... I believe that should be 12, maybe 1 less.
Depends on how big the Knight is, but
yeah. It hit him from 25 to 17, so I'm assuming 8.
It's fair. So, and if you're Andrew Boody, how are you going to figure your way out of this one?
You need to draw a path. That's how you're going to win. Or that Knight's just going to grow too big for any creature you have to block it, so... Brian Boss is way out of burn range. Yeah, just need to path that Knight. Brian Boss using the Knight as a huge growing Jam Tome.
The Knight is just getting bigger and bigger. He's finding the lands he wants, thinning his deck out. Alright, so in comes the Knight of the Reliquary.
Goblin Guide goes to the bin.
Yep.
Knight gets Maze.
And after damage, you maze it. And if you weren't here earlier to have that interaction explained, what happens is, after Knight attacks in the end of combat step, you can untap it with Maze of Ith. Yeah. Because damage is dealt, it's still an attacker.
There's the Path to Exile.
Alright, there's the path. And does Brian have a Sejiri step? I don't believe he does.
No, he does not. Though it does in fact look like we just missed the scrub lands on his list for some reason, because he does have a Savannah in play. They may have just been missed on the list. I think,
it's possible they're just written down wrong.
I think it's 3. Yeah, 3 Scrubland is I think what he has.
Okay, fair enough.
Knight finds a Horizon Canopy, just digging for more action. Brian's still in a reasonable position here. He's got his life total where he wants it to be, up on cards. Oh, draws the Mental Misstep. Wow.
Well, what a card to draw in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, that Knight is huge in every sense of the word, I think.
Yeah,
and
Andrew only has 1 path left in his deck now. He's looking at a 1-outer to this Knight. Oh.
Wow, Andrew just concedes.
I think we may have missed a swing from that Knight there, so that may have been why.
Yeah. We hit once and the life total didn't change.
Yeah.
So unless Brian Boss messed up and made it before it dealt damage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that life total was dead on board.
Yeah.
So Brian Boss smiling a little bit more compared to what he was after game 1.
A little happier after crunching with a big Knight. Nothing quite feels that good.
Yeah, and you're at 11. That's 3 extra from lethal. See ya.
Yeah, there you go. So now Andrew's going to be back on the play, and that's pretty dangerous for Brian. The Zoo deck going first makes a huge difference.
Well, Mental Misstep is really what Brian needs here in his draw. Mental Misstep, Swords to Plowshares is what he needs to catch back up. And again, just needs to get that Knight of the Reliquary up and going, because if that happens, well, you saw what happened that game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and he had to protect that Knight of the Reliquary at all costs.
Yep.
And he found the misstep for it, and that was exactly what he was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Played well, and he was rewarded for it.
Yeah.
So Andrew's gonna be on the play, and if he gets a fast draw, like Nicodle into Goblin Guides, or followed by Burn Spells or Path to Exile, it could be rough for Brian Boss.
Could be having a draw like he did against the Enchantress player. Wild Nicodle, Goblin Guy.
Yeah, the double Goblin Guide draws are always the most insane.
I mean, in standard you see them out of the red decks, and the red decks almost I think someone did the stats, and single Goblin Guide alone on turn 1 was 20% additional to win or something like that. And you look at Bald Nicodle, Goblin Guide, like the double Goblin Guide draws almost never lose.
Yeah,
you have to flood out very hard, or your opponent has to have a really good hand to win.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Let's see here. Players are shuffling up. I don't think any of them made any sideboard changes. Both of them seem pretty content with how they chose to manage their decks going into game 2.
Seemed like a pretty straightforward process.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that the cards you take on both sides, they make a lot of sense naturally. Some players, like I said, might take out Dark Confidant if you're Brian Boss, but I don't think it's correct to do that.
So the winner of this goes on to face the Manaless Dredge deck.
Right.
I think both of them have a pretty good matchup there. Living Witch for Bajuka Bog, Knight for Bajuka Bog, whichever one you choose is going to be great. And both of them have pretty good clocks. So that's going to be, well, at the very least, an interesting matchup. Brian Boss already beat the other Dredge player who top-aided earlier this event. And Vampire Hexmage is pretty brutal against Bridge from Below.
It's funny you should say that, because I was playing in a local Legacy tournament, and my opponent, it was his first ever sanctioned tournament. I was playing Dredge, and he was playing standard Vampires, and I felt really bad for beating him. But he did mess me up in one game because he had Vampire Hexmage in play, and I was like, "Good return my Golgari Grave Troll." He was like, "All right, well, Hexmage your Grave Troll. We'll get rid of all your bridges."
Oh no.
Now, clearly, I mean, that's a much different category. Yeah. But I was like, oh man, Hexmage, it's a good thing nobody plays that. Caleb is actually currently up a game.
Whoa.
Caleb beat Ben Weinberg in the semifinals.
Up 1 game. And Ben Weinberg, Hivemind has fallen to Aquarium.
Wow.
We thought this was impossible.
Yeah.
Caleb.
I'm hoping the 6 game 1, and his draw was fairly good. And then game 2, I just couldn't find action quickly enough, and he had lots of red blast.
Oh man. Yeah. So it looks like Ben had kind of a poor draw, and Caleb capped. Caleb was ready to resign the match.
Yeah, Caleb was ready to leave if there was a top 8 prize split.
And and Ben was the one who declined. And justice works its way yet again. So Caleb, so Ben was the only person in the top 8 prize split who chose not to prize split. I mean, they all had to play it out. Caleb didn't leave, and Caleb beat Ben.
I mean, sometimes it happens. You get rewarded more often than you don't, I think. But
so Caleb playing his Aquarium deck is through to face
Alex Bertoncini with no rug.
Alex Bertoncini with no rug, yeah.
That's a second top 4 this weekend for Caleb.
Wow. Yeah, Caleb is just on fire right now. Man, I mean, he beat the person who I thought was even hotter on fire, which is Ben Weinberg. So that's pretty impressive. Old question of, fire fights fire, who wins? where apparently whoever's blazing hotter overall. So if Caleb is going to be fighting the Dredge deck, or sorry, he's going to be fighting Alex Bertoncini with the
No rug
deck.
That one's going to be real interesting because Progenitus is a real trump in this matchup, and Caleb doesn't really have that many ways to interact with it. Again, same kind of thing, this kind of combo endgame. Caleb didn't really come prepared for that, it seems.
Yeah.
He just came prepared to beat up on all the fair decks with all the fair cards.
Yeah, very much so. We'll see how it turns out over there. In the meantime, though, we've got a third game here to watch. Andrew Boody versus Brian Boss. These guys, I think they're both going down to 6 cards here. And we'll see what happens. 6-card mulligan, I think it might hurt Boody more than it hurts Boss.
I think the 6-card favors Boody still. Like, all he needs is a Wild McConnell, and Boss's deck stumbles a bit more. But down to 5, I think that Brian Boss is a little bit favored because you have a lot less cards to apply pressure, and it gives Brian, all he needs is a Knight. He doesn't actually have to do anything to 3 off, he'll turn 3 Knight off a Mold 5 usually.
Or just play Dark Confidant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Dark Confidant gets you right back in the game when you mulligan. Both players keep their 6-card hands. And here we go. Looks like Andrew Boody cracks fetch land and brings out Taiga. He's got the Sacred Foundry sitting in his hand. Andrew Boody could not find the last plateau he needed, or so it seems. And so he's playing a Sacred Foundry instead.
It looks like Brian Boss's hand is very good this game. I see a Mox Diamond, another land, and a Dark Confidant, and a Knight of the Reliquary.
Turn 1 Confidant, turn 2 Knight. If that's...
The old junk nuts.
Wow.
There's probably a better phrase for that, but
if there's usually him is a card you're worried about there, but Brian Boss does not play him Turek in his deck. I think it's just because of mana consideration. That's what we decided, right?
I know Kenny Mayer played a similar deck. The mana in that deck was tuned just to fit that card, but I think that it might not be worth it just because Knight of the Reliquary. Kenny was saying there's only 3, not that many lands in his deck that you can sack tonight, and this deck definitely has 3 or 4 more, and that's a few more activations of a really powerful card.
So Brian Boss does go for the turn 1 Dark Confidant, discards Snow-Covered Forest to make the Great One appear at his whim. And Andrew Boody has nothing to fight. He just goes Tarmogoyf down. The Dark Confidant's going to flip something up.
And Brian Boss goes to 17 from this Curd Ape attack and takes 0 off a Mox Diamond, which could be really key for this Knight of the Reliquary that's probably going to come down this turn.
As long as Brian has another land in his hand.
It looks like there's a white border card that I'm assuming is a land.
I think he's going to play Mox Diamond.
I think he might be debating whether he wants to play Mox Diamond or wants another land in play for that Knight of the Reliquary.
Sure.
He does have the Knight already at a 4/4. Dark Confidant does get in first for 2. That Tarmogoyf is a good old Squire Goyf.
Not the only Squire we've seen today.
This may be the highest finishing Squire today, but it's not that much it's not there by that much. That looks like a
Wasteland.
Wasteland was his land for the turn, and he drops a Knight.
Wow.
That is a 6/6 Knight.
What an insane 6 cards from Brian Boss. Turn 2 Dark Confidant, turn 3 Wasteland Knight of the Reliquary.
Is that a basic Plains in play or for Boody? I can't really tell here from the glare. Yeah, that looks like a basic Plains.
Yeah, that's basic Plains. So he has Path for the Knight, and Mental Misstep is Brian Boss's last card.
Hellbent. Oh, wow.
What? That was
Andrew Boody puts the Sacred Foundry into play tapped dejectively.
Could he ask for much better 6 cards?
No, I think those were some of the best cards. And the Bob Flip, too.
And the Bob Flip?
Yeah, everything you need. The Wasteland, everything.
It's pretty much the perfect 6. Turn 1 Confidant, turn 2 Knight, Wasteland.
Yeah, the only thing that can make it better
Misstep.
is flipping a Vampire Hexmage right here. Oh, swords. That's unreasonable.
Okay, I guess the actual nuts would be, like turn 1 Dark Depths or something like that.
I don't think you can turn 1 Dark Depths.
Or turn 2 Dark Depths or something insane with Misstep.
Yeah, you can't turn 1 Dark Depths. Dark Depths, Diamond. We've seen this one. It's a moto photo by Luis.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, land, Mox, Hexmage, land to the Dark Depths. Oops.
Yeah, and with Misstep backup, maybe.
Yeah, with Misstep backup.
So, now Brian has to decide what to do. He's in a very good position, but he doesn't want to accidentally give it away. He does have swords in his hands, and he's just going to pass the turn.
Yeah, he's got 2 forests, or 2 Knight of the Reliquary lands to sack, so he's probably just going to get Maze of Ith off this one and start batching with the Knight with a Maze.
Yeah, and that's a good combo.
Looks like that's the... oh, that's not a... There we go. So it is a basic plains, but that looks like an Umezawa's Jite here.
Oh, Jite. Okay.
That might keep the knight at home. That might need, just because the Mazavith might be needed to hold the fort against the Jite.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the Jite is certainly an issue. And with no Tower of the Magistrate in sight,
Yeah.
it's going to be harder. Now, Tower of the Magistrate is a card in Caleb's deck that I think it might start being something we'll see all over. It deals with anything with living weapon, equipment's turn off.
Yeah, I saw Caleb multiple times use it against artifact creatures. Mistress Factory's an artifact creature. He had it in play against a mud deck, and it was apparently devastating. His Demod opponent just like did all this stuff, and then like later on in the game was in a low life, and Caleb just had a knight in play. Guy plays a blocker, plays an irrelevant spell, tapped out, and Caleb just activates it, and he just attacks, and the guy's like, wait, what does this card do? So, as expected, Brian Boss gets a Mazavith into play. Leaves him with 3 mana, able to cast anything in his deck. Dark Confidant flips a mental misstep.
All right, so Brian will take 1 for that.
He does have blue mana. He can play it off of Mox Diamond. We have never said that before today, and that's something we did not think about.
No, well, that's true. He can certainly do that. It's worth noting.
There is a Vampire Hex Mage about to happen, though. So,
and he has the mental misstep he just flipped.
Yeah, I don't know why he tapped the Mox Diamonds, but I think that this game is very rapidly drawing to a close.
Yeah, Brian Boss.
I think.
I also think I would have tapped the Bayou and the Mox and
yeah, left up misstep mana, left up a lot of things,
and then I would have probably got Dark Depths on my own turn too.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have to be forced to misstep a burn spell if he's got a Swords or Path in his hand. Regardless, I think Brian Boss probably has this right here.
I think the only thing you're playing around here at this point is double Path to Exile.
So he activates that. In response, Lightning Helix.
That cannot be
and you can't misstep that. I think that error is a big deal for Brian Boss.
Yeah. He's still ahead, but now he has to fight the game. Sacks that Hex Mage.
Get rid of all the counters on GTA. There are no counters on GTA. Kind of cute that would work. Wow. Yeah, see, if Brian Boss had just done it the other way, Dark Depths would have been guaranteed.
Probably going to get Horizon Canopy here.
This is the second game in a row, or second game in this match, we've seen Brian Boss wait.
Yeah. Maybe just the kind of play that he doesn't really think about. Kind of like we saw the Scalding Tarns play earlier, where a player suspended Ancestral Vision with the Stoneforge in play, didn't crack his Scalding Tarns on his turn, and then Caleb Durwood lightning bolted the Stoneforge Mystic when he went to crack Scalding Tarns to put Batterskull into play.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's
Wasteland. That might be good enough. So.
Well, Wasteland is still quite a beating for Andrew Boody there. Yeah, it's. I think a lot of players have this instinct to just do everything at instant speed because that's how you're taught, and you have to kind of unlearn that habit. It's often right to do things on your turn. For example, like a
Brainstorm.
Yeah, like Brainstorm is a good one, or like removal spells in like the middle of combat can just be a bad idea sometimes.
So Dark Confidant triggers. It's going to reveal basic Swamp.
Okay.
That means if
Bobby's being kind to Brian Boss here.
Yeah. No longer has any lands to sacrifice with Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah,
but
counting on Bob to find him some more.
Yeah. Let's see. He's got a Swords. I think you just send with the Knight here. You just gotta. That is a huge Knight.
That Knight has got probably pretty big.
It was already 6 by the time we first counted. Like that was back when. Tarmogoyf getting swords.
Dinosaurs walked the earth.
That was back when those mock locals were coming into play.
So now
that is a 1/1 Curd Ape too, by the way.
1/1 Curd Ape.
That is a lonely Curd Ape.
So, I mean, Brian Boss still in a great situation. He serves with Dark Confidant and a huge Knight of the Reliquary. Not sure exactly on the size, but it is approximately a gigantic/gigantic.
Yeah. He is. I want to say it's probably about a 10/10 at the least.
Man, it's crazy how large that guy grows so quickly. So Andrew draws a Wooded Foothill, so we can maybe get something going on that respect.
Mazavith still holding off this Curd Ape from getting Jite active, but I think Jite might be too little too late by now. Maybe a few turns ago you could get a hit in with Jite and start getting a guy into the range where Knight can't fight it, but think about now, it's pretty much a blank. Boody gets a Taiga. I think one of the cards in Brian Boss's hand might be Life from the Loam, but at this point I can't really tell, and I don't really know if it makes too much of a difference. He does still have that mental misstep, correct?
He never used the misstep, so he should still have it.
With the blue up, too.
All right, so Brian Boss's board is Mazavith, Double Mox Diamond, Swamp, Confidant, Knight of the Reliquary versus Kurdape, Taiga, Plains, Umazawa's Jite. And I think Brian has just got this one.
Tarmogoyf's going to hit the board.
Play it for another turn, but...
Dark Confidant flip is going to reveal...
Another misstep.
Not the worst, not the best.
Can't have them all. Oh, Wasteland the Taiga.
And that Knight's going to get right in there.
Yep, and that should make it... That's definitely lethal.
That is a 12-12 Knight of the Reliquary by my count.
All right, and Kurdape jumps in the way. Little gorilla to this gigantic Knight. All right, Andrew Boody passes back. I think we're going to see Brian Boss here in the top 4. He'll be... All right, Tarmogoyf deals 2 to Brian Boss, assuming that nothing goes catastrophically wrong. He remembers all of his Bob triggers, doesn't do anything strange. He'll be the only player undefeated still going.
Inquisition or a Thoughtseize that he just cast?
I think it's Inquisition.
Yeah.
Yep, it's Inquisition.
Taking a Tarmogoyf, leaving Boody with just a Goblin Guide. Guys go in, Boody goes down to 5. Knight of the Reliquary eats a Tarmogoyf. And there's a Tarmogoyf for Brian. I really don't... There's absolutely nothing Andrew can do here.
And that's it. Andrew packs him in. And Brian Boss is the only undefeated player left in this tournament.
He is, in fact, 100% undefeated.
Ben Weinberg and Ruben Bressler, the other 2 undefeated players, both lost.
Yes, they did.
So, congratulations to Brian Boss, the last undefeated player in the tournament, who's going to be taking on Nicholas Rausch in the semifinals. Nick is playing Manaless Dredge, and that is a matchup we're definitely going to want to keep an eye on.
Yes, it in fact is.
Here we go. Hey everyone, back in the booth. I'm Gavin Verhey here with Ari Lax. We just watched a pretty tight, exciting quarterfinals match between Zoo and Depths Junk.
Yeah, it was definitely probably, I'd be willing to say it was the most interesting match to watch out of those. Though, it would have been kind of funny to see what happened with that Hive Mind match there.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed